Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to month 5 recap of commercial diving school. I'm actually done with school and I'm back here in Hawaii. I just wanted to finish out the monthly recap series since month 5 is the last month of commercial diving school. I'm also uploading a video on everything that I've done since I graduated and also how is the job opportunity or job search going and do I have a job. So if you're interested in that, check that video out next. But anyways, this video is going to cover week 17, 18, 19, and 20 of commercial diving school. So let's get started with week 17. So the last month of commercial diving school, we actually started in Ocala and everybody made the drive down there. And then we started doing scuba once we got down there. So we started doing 4 dives to 20 feet just to get everybody comfortable. And we went down to the 20-foot platform and we would do like scuba skills, real basic open water stuff like mask clearing and regulator retrieval. And then we also swam around the grotto just to make sure everybody's on the same page because I'm already a dive master. But there's guys that were new, so they had almost no experience or no experience scuba diving. So just getting them comfortable swimming around in the grotto was our goal for basic open water. And then we moved on to advanced, and we actually did a 70-foot dive. We were tethered with, they use a like real thick blue rope that you kind of shackle to your hip. They just do it. That's how they do it in Ocala at the Deepwater Training Center. And then we did a 20-foot dive using nitrox. So we got our nitrox certification. And then we began doing, by the end of that week 17, we were doing rescue dives. And any kind of rescue scenario that you can think of, that's what we basically did. So a diver that's unconscious or a diver that's freaking out, or just a diver that inflated their BCD, so they're shooting up to the surface, so they could get a lung over expansion or barrel trauma or anything like that, and they could get hurt. Anything like that, we basically practiced, and we also did a scenario where an instructor basically pretended to be hurt or unconscious, and we had to act as a class to show that we could rescue and alert emergency services and stuff like that. So just ran that scenario, and then once we were done with week 17, we actually went on a full week of break for Thanksgiving. So everybody got to go home who wanted to go home. A lot of people drove, some people flew. I just went back to my apartment with my family, cooked a nice dinner for Thanksgiving, and then it was back to week 18. And then we finished off our scuba dives with doing master diver. So for master diver, we did 2 dives to 100 feet, and those were for only about 15 minutes bottom time. And then we did a 20-foot dive for 1 hour. And then Tuesday of that week was our last scuba dive, and I actually got to bring my GoPro. It was a 100-foot dive, and I uploaded the video of that. So if you haven't seen that, check that out. It gets kind of dark down there, but we do have glow sticks we had on our harnesses or BCDs. So you can kind of see that, but it did get pretty dark. It actually looks a lot darker in the video than it did in person, which kind of sucks, but still cool nonetheless. So then by Wednesday of week 18, we started surface applied diving with the Kirby Morgan 77s that have a T-Rex regulator. And we started at 6:45 in the morning. So when we were doing scuba, we started at 8. But when we started doing surface applied air with the hard hats, we started at 6:45, and then we did a dive to 20 feet for 1 hour just to get everybody comfortable. We have been diving obviously all throughout school, but Ocala was kind of new to us. So to get us acclimated to the grotto, they had us start off at 20 feet. And then the next day, by Thursday, we were doing dives to 50 feet. And then by Friday, we were already going down to 132 feet. And then that was basically week 18. The next week, in week 19, we did more 132-foot dives, 70-foot dives. I mentioned this in a previous video, but to reiterate, we only did it was like a theme where the depths of our dives were either max depth of 132 feet, and we paired that with a 70-foot dive in the afternoon, or we would do a day where we would do back-to-back 50-foot dives, or there's 2 days, they're both 1 week apart, where we do dives to 165 feet. So those are the max depths almost every time. We just pick one of those, or it's actually a set schedule, but we don't differ. We don't go to like, 42 feet or whatever. It's always those depths. So in week 19, we basically just were continuing with our surface applied air diving. We actually, by the end of that week, we did a small project where we got to do pipe squares. Basically got pipes that made a square with like corners and everything. They screw together. They had threads and everything. And then once one pair of divers finished it, they would just pass it to the next pair of divers, and they would assemble the pipe square. Just a little small project to get us to do something underwater. And then the next day, on Friday of that week, we did a flange project where it was just like kind of like a plastic flange with nuts and bolts that we had to just basically tighten the bolts together. Super, super simple. Can't get any more simple than that, really, working with mechanical things underwater. But you did lose points if you lost any nuts or bolts or washers or whatever. So that was our small projects we did by the end of that week. And then that brings us to week 20, which was the last week of commercial diving school. And in that week, we finished up our diving, we cleaned and packed and got our cars loaded and everything ready to go. And we graduated that week. So we started off the week on Sunday, actually, and we did 132-foot dive on Sunday, along with a 20-foot dive. And then on Tuesday, we did our second 165-foot dive. Started that at 3 in the morning. I got to bring my GoPro. I even show myself like jumping into the chamber, and like through the window, you can kind of see me in the hyperbaric chamber decompressing. And then we finished off our last dives. We did 2 dives in our dry suits, both to 50 feet. And we did on those, on the second dive of that dive, so our last dive that we got to do, I got to bring my GoPro again, and we got to do NDT, which is non-destructive testing. And in the video, you can see us doing MPI, which is magnetic particle inspection, with a device specifically made for that. So if you're interested in any of those GoPro videos, check those out if you haven't already. And then basically Thursday of that week, we cleaned up, packed, like I said, but we also did any makeup dives on that day, the day before we graduated. Any makeup dives that anybody needed to finish that they hadn't, that they either missed for some reason. Everybody who had to make up a dive actually did get to make up their dives. And so, which was pretty cool. So everybody got to graduate, which brings us to Friday. Basically, the graduation went like every parent showed up or loved one, I should say, because there's more than just parents, obviously. But they got to show up at 9 in the morning. They had to sign like basically a waiver. Everybody, like any guest that came had to sign a waiver if they're not a kid. But anyways, the graduation was about a half an hour long. They gave out some awards for perfect attendance, and then they gave out valedictorian, which I got, which I was super happy and proud about. And then after graduation, one of the lead instructors, or the lead instructor of the Deepwater Training Center, gave me his card and said, "Put me down as a reference if you need to," which was pretty awesome. But yeah, anyways, we graduated and everybody was out of there by 11 a.m. So that was commercial diving month 5. Leave a like if you enjoyed this video. Subscribe if you haven't already. Stay tuned for that update video. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Leave any comments if you have any in the comment section down below. And I hope you guys have a great one. I will see you in the next video. Peace.